Whether you need to reinvent yourself, re-enter the workforce, or continue to climb upward in your career, these women will tell you how you have the power to succeed. And it all happens right now on It's Your Call. Are you facing a challenging work environment these days, thinking about changing careers or perhaps starting a new one, wondering how you can balance work and family, or interested in making the most of the second half of your life? Well, if you answered yes to any of those questions, you've come to the right place, because we have experts to address them and more. Hello, everyone. It's good to have you with us. I'm Lynn Doyle. Now, you know, many of us find ourselves in a period of transition these days, some in part because of the economy, others because of age, and some just because they're interested in a change. Well, whatever the reason, good advice in dealing with these transitions is always welcome. That's why every year the Pennsylvania's Governor's Commission on Women holds a conference chock full of experts, panels, and speakers who provide insight on a variety of these kinds of topics. We are fortunate on this edition of It's Your Call to have three of those experts with us. Let me introduce them to you. Leslie Stiles is the Executive Director for the Pennsylvania Commission on Women. The Commission is the co-host of the Pennsylvania's Governor's Conference for Women, which takes place in Philadelphia on September 17th. Jen Groover is a brand strategist and the CEO of Jen Groover Brands. And Suzanne Svazeni is Executive Vice President and Head of Commercial Banking for Pennsylvania and Delaware for Wachovia, a Wells Fargo company. Of course, Wachovia is this year's presenting sponsor for the Women's Conference. Ladies, thank you so much for being with us. I have to tell you, I'm getting my pen and pencil ready because I'm taking notes. Transition and reinventing ourselves seem to be the theme for 2009 in particular. Leslie, how will the conference that's coming up on September 17th address those two particular issues and others?
Well, of course, we have wonderful speakers like Susie Orman, so women can get a strong financial strategy for these challenging times. And then we're going to take the latter part of the conference and have a job fair and bring in corporations that are hiring and let them match that up with women that have needs. We're going to have workshops in resumes and mentoring, so women can feel comfortable in their own shoes and really be prepared to be successful in the workforce.
How important is this year's conference compared to previous years?
Well, we like to think that they're all important. This is the 6th year we're having this conference, and one I think has been better than the next. It has really grown exponentially. We're going to welcome, I'd say upward of 5,000 women to this conference at the Pennsylvania Convention Center in Philly. But it's a very special time we're living in now, and I think women and children are taking a bigger hit than anyone else. So it's very important for us to understand how to be successful.
And Suzanne, it's really time, perhaps more than any other time in our history, for women to take control of their own destiny.
Absolutely. Transitions are an opportunity. And I think the Pennsylvania Governor's Conference and educating yourself in those types of forums are really going to help women for their future. Because as you said, you know, you can start a new career, you can kind of take inventory of some of the skills that you have and figure out really what do you want to do with the next part of your career, whether it's starting out or whether it's a second part of the end of your career.
You know, it's interesting when you hear the word transition. I don't know about the rest of you, but when I hear transition, it kind of makes me cringe and it makes me nervous. And other people, like Jen here, embrace that and embrace the whole reinvention concept. How do we get around being nervous of transition or change and in fact say, hey, this could be a really good thing for us?
Well, I do get very excited when I think about transition because it just means that you're evolving and you're growing. And my mom had a saying as a child that if you were not uncomfortable today, you did not grow today. And so every day, if I'd say to her, Mom, that makes me uncomfortable, she'd say, great, do it. Then make yourself even more uncomfortable and do more. And so I really do embrace that. I think that we should challenge ourselves as women, as individuals, every day and say, what am I afraid of? Let me put my foot out there and try and do it, even if it's in baby steps. And for a lot of women coming, they're starting their own companies. This is an amazing opportunity to start networking for those new companies or those new ventures that you're doing as well, and creating your mastermind group. But that's really where it begins, surrounding yourself by the right people to support whatever it is that you're doing. You can't do it by yourself, and we as women try to take everything on ourselves. This is the time to find the people that are going to help you.
Will we be finding them at the conference?
Oh, absolutely. But in addition to being able to jump in, and you got to be able to swim. So you've got to have the tools, and that's where this conference is just marvelous, because it's going to give you the tools to really be successful in the work, not only the workforce, but in your own professional and personal life. It's really critical that you have that same kind of sense of yourself, that you like yourself, because if you don't have that high self-esteem, you're not going to succeed.
Right. Let's talk about the first of the things that I pitched at the top of the show, and that is reinventing yourself. Jen, tell us your story. You've had, for someone who's relatively young, if I might say, quite a variety of careers already. Why have you opted to try so many different things?
Well, first, I think that society imposes on us that belief of you have to pick one thing and be that one thing. And I don't believe that. I always say, I don't want to be in one box. I want to thrive in as many boxes as I choose to be in. And that's a mindset that we really need to embrace, especially going forward in the culture and watching how much it's changed in the past few years. You can't just be one thing. You actually can and allow yourself to be good at multiple things and brand yourselves in different platforms and have diversified income as well. I think that was probably the biggest lesson for people right now. But reinventing yourself really is about allowing yourself to keep growing and challenging yourself. That's what keeps you relevant in the world, is challenge yourself. So I was in the fitness industry when I graduated college. I was in a completely different industry than I am now, which is consumer products and media and writing. And I knew nothing about where I was going. All I knew is I had been faced with getting ill from overtraining and overworking for so many years, and that I had to make those changes. And so it allowed me now, when I look back to where I was, to see how far I've grown in just a short period of time. And that is empowering. And that's confidence builder and self-esteem that we're talking about that really helps you keep thriving.
But it's very difficult in this day and age to take those risks, particularly if you are head of the household, a single parent, or if your income, Susanna, is really vital to maintaining your standard of living.
Right. And I think, to Jen's point, you have to stay relevant. You have to really stay sharp, and you have to keep being a continuous learner in your life, whether it's around learning how to stay well and healthy, whether it's financial health, whether it's career skills. I think it's all about education and really owning that and taking accountability for your own destiny. I think, and getting educated, using different forums like the conference, I think are really going to be helpful for women, especially in times like this, of transition, of change, of uncertainty that's, throughout our nation right now.
Are women willing to take those risks? Traditionally or historically, it seems like women have not been at the forefront of risk-taking. That seems like it's come under the heading men only. Right. But now, are you seeing a change in that?
I think we are. I think women have to realize that if we're going to make change in this state and in this world, it's going to come from ourselves. It's going to come from within us. And we have to build that strength, and we have to be inspired and look at those people that came before us and those people that are in a contemporary world that are successful right now. And we also have to understand that adversity is not a bad thing, that you grow from that. I mean, for me, I'm a breast cancer survivor, and I think had I not had breast cancer, I probably wouldn't have this job, and I wouldn't be reaching out to other women. You grow from adversity, and it's important to know that. These are difficult times, and women are having a very, very hard time. Some are losing jobs, some are having trouble meeting financial obligations and being moms and working moms, but you can make it better. The tools are there.
It's interesting that you say that, because for someone who has gone through adversity as you have, to come out on the other side and to be stronger and to have grown from it, it's when you're in the midst of it that the transition and the risk-taking and the adversity, it seems sometimes like it's overwhelming. It envelops you, and that's when it's hard to find a way out.
I think it's having confidence in yourself, and I think women need to take that inventory and say, we are good, we are strong, we know what we can do, we have the capability. In most cases, we're balancing family and work, we're doing a lot in terms of trying to multitask and take on a lot of different challenges. And I think, we got to give ourselves credit for that and recognition for that and really use that to leverage it in our careers.
I think it's the perspective that you take on going through that adversity as well. I mean, we all have our own stories and our own challenges, and the perspective that I always take is, as I'm going through something, what am I supposed to be learning right now? And when you look at it that way, it really allows you to take more of a positive and productive, active way of handling